Hello, everyone, and welcome to our radio production class today. Today, we are privileged to have a guest lecturer who will take us through various topics in radio production. Some of the topics she will cover include writing for radio, what makes a good and effective radio producer, among other topics. Our guest lecturer today is Carole Mucheru. Carole is an award-winning radio producer with over 15 years experience. She won a Gold Audio Award at the International Safety Media Award in 2016 and the Best Radio Producer on FGM at the KEMEP UNFPA Awards in 2014. Oh, and before I forget, I won at the same event, the same category as the Best Television Producer in the same year with Carole. Carole, do you remember?
Yes, I do. Congratulations, Jackie. She's a very senior producer at our place. And yeah, I don't know what I can tell you, but she's really experienced and you have to take advantage of, her availability and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so Carole also holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Communication and PR from Moi University. We also schooled together with Carole at KMC for our diploma course in Mass Communication. So me and Carole, we go a very long way.
So again, I would say thank you so much for this opportunity, Jackie, a good friend of mine, and I'm happy to share. I look forward to sharing such experiences with students, people who are interested in journalism. So I got information of what you wanted us to discuss about, and we'll start with news writing for radio. And my note for starting, okay, I'm just sharing through experiences that I've had through the 15 years I've been on radio. So as I start, I want us to have the idea and think about Kenya as a developing country, meaning our country and our people still experience very harmful cultural practices, and we are not so developed. So we also have road traffic accidents. We have children undergoing FGM. We have children getting married to very old people and such things. So, and our people, some of them are not even educated. So when you have that background as a journalist, you know what important things you need to put out there, because as a journalist, your work is to change the life of the people who are listening to you or watching you. So as you're writing news for radio, I would say it is important to be very factual, go to the field, because most of the times when you're doing news, you're assigned news by your news editor. You're told to go out and cover events of the day. Or if it is a bit, you're told to choose whatever you're interested in, and then you can go and cover. So what I would tell you when you're going out to the field, be very factual. News, you cannot exaggerate news, and you cannot give lies in news. You have to give news as it is and give factual figures. If 10 people have died, it is 10 people who have died. It is not many people who have died, but exactly the figure that you've had. And if you hear officials saying a figure, please fact check for yourself and ensure that whatever figures you're giving is factual, is exactly as it is. Because as a journalist, all you have to give is true, real information. And then again, in news, we don't give personal opinions. You say as it is. If it is bad, it is bad. If people in Bomet have been infected by the COVID-19 virus, that is what it is. Yeah, you're not exaggerating. You're not saying very many people have died or, like I said. So no personal opinion. Don't say this is bad. Don't say the MP is a very bad person. I've seen him around and he's not doing his job well. No, tell us as it is. Give us people who are giving that information. Where did you get that information from? Is it from the people in that constituency? Are they saying that? If they are, can we hear their voices? Have you read a book? Which book did you read? Which newspaper? What are you quoting? So no personal opinion. Research your information and give it as it is. In radio, again, in news writing and even in normal productions, we don't use vocabularies. Be normal. Use simple words. And on radio, you have to be, just normal, the way we communicate. So no vocabularies, no big words, no twang, no exaggerations and things like that. So normal as usual, be yourself. Yeah. So presentations should be done normally, naturally, no twanging in news writing. So give facts as they are, no big vocabularies, no personal opinion, not winging. I don't know if you can have some questions on that so that I know if I can add in something before we move to the next thing. Luke?
Yes, madam. Does it mean you cannot share your expression or the way you view that story at all when you're reporting news, even when it is something disaster, maybe like 100 people die? You can't say we have had a disaster, it is terrible, something like that.
News is news. News is news. It is as it is. It is terrible. Like if you tell us 100 people died, yes, it is a disaster. But you can't tell us it is terrible. You can't use that description word. It is 100 people have died. It is a disaster. It has happened. What has happened before? Describe for us. Give us more information around that disaster. But personal opinion is not acceptable in news. If you want to be safe, give it as it is. Because sometimes you look at some people who are maybe presenters and reporters and you think, sasa natuambia, amezidi, unajua, like they're giving too much information. There's a way you can watch a reporter or a news reader and you can tell that they're exaggerating things. The more natural you are, and if you give factual information, you'll always go right. Yeah. Any other concern? Okay, so if there is no other, then we can move to the second topic we had, how to come up with program ideas. So what you normally do as a radio producer or a TV producer, whatever producer you are, because the idea of being a producer means you're coming up with ideas for programs. And when you're coming up with program ideas means you have looked around for things that people want to know. Because on media, what you're doing, like we always say, you're educating, informing, and entertaining. So you have to serve that purpose. Look around. What information do people want to know? What information are people lacking? Like right now in our country, I can tell that people need information on masking. How do we wear a mask? Yeah. Are you supposed to cover your nose or your mouth? Meaning that if you produce a program on masks, people will try and listen because they want to avoid being infected by COVID-19 because they know it is dangerous. So if you do a program on masks, people will listen. If you do a program on COVID-19 right now, you will have a very big audience. So look around and see what information is needed out there. The other way you can get information, you can come up with ideas for programs, looking around your family and what people want. Then you can also check out magazines, newspapers, you can watch TVs, listen to radio. And as you listen and watch and read these things, ideas come up in your mind and you feel like, wow, I would want to do something like that. But we say no copying, come up with your original stuff because you're original and there's a way you can bring up something yourself. You're created in your own way. So be yourself. Don't copy someone. Don't sound like someone else. Just sound like yourself, always. There's something beautiful about you. There's something in you that wants to come out. So let it come out naturally. You understand? So look out for magazines, read newspapers, listen to TV, watch on the internet. Come up with something original. The other way you can get program ideas, maybe you can listen to experts, listen to doctors, maybe as they speak, then you'll have an idea. Maybe someone has spoken about road safety and the way maybe our towns are getting bigger roads and things like that. You can decide to go to NTSA and record an expert and let them talk to you on what Kenyans should know. Yeah. So read, research, watch things, and you'll have program ideas of what your people will want to know. What I normally say, if you produce a program that changes lives for the better, you've achieved something as a journalist. That's what I have to say for that session. If someone has a comment on that, I'd like to hear.
Madam, I just have a small question on the first part.
Yes.
Is there any format for writing news, or you just write in prose like a composition? Is there a particular format, or you just write it like continuously like a composition?
No, what we do in news writing, you write the most important part first in a news article. Yeah. So when you go to the field and you come back now, you sit down and write your information according to importance. the most important thing should be up there. Like we know yesterday, there was a story on the infections in Bomet. So 9 doctors have treated about 178 people who are suspected to have interacted with these doctors, right? So the most important part of the story there is that there are people in Bomet who are in contact with doctors who are suspected to be COVID-19 positive. So that is the most important information in your news story. So it should come up as your first paragraph. The most important point comes to the first paragraph of your story. And in the first paragraph, you have to give us the 5 W's and H. So what happened? So you say, like, 178 patients are being sought, yeah, because of interacting with doctors where in Bomet County, yeah, you explain that in your first paragraph. And you have to have a focus. Exactly what do you want to tell us? You don't want to tell us about COVID-19 in the country. You want to tell us about COVID-19 in Bomet. And that is exactly what you will focus on. Because without a focus, you will have so much going on. So once you have a focus, then you can have a better story. Is that okay, Luke?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. So we use paragraphs. We write in paragraphs like a composer.
Exactly. And you start with the most important point. And then as you go, you're explaining more information to that point. You're building up on it. So then what happened? Where were they? How were they identified? Did you speak maybe to a chief, a DO, or someone who gave you that information? And then you continue. Which hospitals did they visit? You know, you go according to the importance, and the most important comes first. The second most important to the least important, so that if the editor decides to cut your story into half, you'll already have told the story, you know, the most important information will have gone out. Any other question, concern?
Okay, maybe if I might just add there. So
Yes,
that is
Jackie.
what we call the inverted pyramid style of writing news, right, Carole?
Yes, it is, yes.
It is the inverted pyramid. And in inverted pyramid, we say you start with the most important and the least important. And also you also have to remember the 5 W's and the H.
And the H.
Yes.
And your story must have all the 5 W's and H. Otherwise, you leave out important information. So if you can just go later, you can research on the inverted pyramid and check it out. You'll know how to write a story from the most important to the least. Like, I want to give an example. If you have been given an assignment and you're giving that assignment to your friend and the train is leaving, yeah? Your friend is in a train and they are leaving and you want to tell them about the assignment, yeah? And you want to give them the most important. So what do you start? You tell them the most important information before they leave. Otherwise, they will not get the other information. So in news, you start with the most important. So could we talk about target audience, because that was our third point, how to identify a target audience? Like we say, the target audience is the people who are going to listen to your program. And you look at the need of the audience. What information do they really want to know? What information do you think will change their lives? And to identify your audience, when you want to describe them, you look at their economic status. What jobs are they? What jobs do they do? What economic activities are they involved in? Are they farmers? Do they sell at the markets? Are they young university students? Are they college students? You know, you look at their education level. Where are they? Have they gone to university? Are they primary level? Are they, are they uneducated? Yeah, such things, education level. Then you look at their age. Are they elderly? Are they 45 years? Are they between 10, 45? And in radio, a target is only one person. In radio, you have only one target audience. You're speaking to one person always. So when you're looking for your target audience on radio, describe that one person. Is it a girl? Yes. How old is she? She's 25. How does she carry? What kind of bag does she carry? What kind of shoes does she wear? Because when you're coming up with a target audience on radio, you also think about the advertisers you want for your program. Because most of the times when you're producing a program, you're aiming at making money. So you also, as you think about your target audience, think about what you want from your program. If you're making money, so what kind of shoes does she wear? will her shoes attract advertisers from maybe Mr. Price, or is it butter? You differentiate all these things. So they're in college level or university. Which university do they go to? Are they in UON or St. Paul's, KMC? Like what advertisers can they attract? So that's what you look at when you're identifying your target audience. But I always say, always look at the need, because that is the most important. Yeah, that's what I would say about a target audience. Jackie, would you like to add something? Anyone with any comment on that target audience?
For the target Okay, for the target audience, I would like them to ask any question, maybe if they still have any concerns, because I think we talked at length in our last class about the target audience. Yes. So if they have a specific concerns, I can be able to take them through, even on the assignment that we did.
Hello.
So anyone with
Yes, I've got a question.
Yes, please ask.
How to identify a target level, a target audience? You were talking about, I think you are talking about the demographics of that particular area. And at the same time, do you have to look at their interest, what they are mostly interested at, and such like this, their attitude towards that kind of a situation, whatever, how they behave, are all these part of what you should look for whenever you are talking about the target, the audience target? Thank you.
So when we are talking about the target audience, we normally say in media, the target audience is our king. When you are doing, if we are writing for a newspaper, your reader is the king. When you are in TV, your viewer is the king. When you come to radio, your listener is the king. So, and how do you identify this king of yours? You do a research. And research on your target audience, it means you are supposed to look at both demographics and psychographics. So whatever Peter is talking about is the psychographics, the emotional needs, the attitudes, everything about your target audience. And I remember in the last class, this is the radio class, we talked about mapping a target audience, where we start from the target question until when you want to change the emotions of your target audience. I think you can remember that very well. So it is important, and it is a process. When you're mapping a target audience, you start by what is the target question? What does my target audience want? And you as a producer, what do you want to change? Which is this information you want to give the target audience in order for that target audience can be able to change their opinion, their perspective, or to buy into the product you're advertising. So you start with the target question, and then you go to the influencers. And you said an influencer is an important person, and it can be a role model, a peer, it can be research, the person that you will use to communicate the information. It can be a teacher, it can be a parent, can be someone who has an influence over your target audience. And how do you know that? That you have to know by doing your research, the psychographics needs of your target audience. And then you have to know the agreed realities. What does your target audience really want? What do they identify with it? After you know that, it is easier for you to be able to change their emotions, their perspective, and even their behavior. So it is studying everyone. And you can only be able to understand your king, who is the target audience, by doing research. Research you can do through media, you can do through school students. Like maybe if you want to do something about St. Paul's University, you talk to the students and you can be able to know what really do they want before you go ahead and start producing your program. Thank you.
I hope that has answered you. Research is key. Yeah. And when we do research, we realize that, you always go right because you end up producing the right things. Meaning you end up, answering to a need of an audience. Because if you don't do research, then you're doing your own thing. But if you do research, you give them exactly what they need.
My question is, you said about, for example, when you want to get the specifics of age, like, for example, you use the example of a 25-year-old lady. Suppose in your audience we have children. Would you consider like their specific age 10-year-old, or you'd say minor, as far as the age is concerned?
No, when you're talking about audience, you speak about you have to highlight their age, and there are different programs. Maybe you can produce a program, and you're targeting exactly, like, I know programs between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. are mostly targeted at housewives. So you describe these housewives. If you want to produce a program targeted at housewives, you say, I would want my program to run between 10 and 1 p.m. because I'm targeting a housewife who is 45 years old. She has 2 children, and she likes music, such things. What kind of music does she like? So I'll play I'll play hip hop or pop music because or maybe gospel music because ladies that age like that kind of music. So identifying a specific age and what they are individually will help you so much in coming up with a program. If you really focus on exactly what you want in a target audience, you'll go right.
Mm-hmm. And that's, maybe if I can add, maybe if I can add, that's why we do thorough research, because you have to also find out what time they are available to watch. Like maybe if I'm doing a television program over the weekend for the youth at around 8 p.m., nitakuwa nikijiongelesha, because maybe that time they're in the clubs, they have gone visiting their friends, and you are doing a program targeting them at 8 p.m. You won't find them at home. Or maybe you say on Sunday at 10, my target audience is a 20-year-old university student. That time, maybe 8 a.m. on Sunday, they just came from the club at around 4 a.m. They are sleeping. So if you do such a program, will you be able to get your target audience? It is impossible. That's why you need to have the timing. You need to know the channel, because also if you are saying you want to do a television program and you are targeting a person in Kibera and maybe they don't have television, so who will be able to watch that program? That person in Kibera, maybe you are better off doing a radio program and maybe using Pamoja FM because it is the community radio at Kibera. So we look at all those things so that you don't just communicate to yourself, but you be able to pass the information to the right person so that you can target the right person.
Yep. Okay, so if there are no other concerns, we can move to the next point on radio documentaries and dramas. And on this note, I would like to say that according to experts, the attention span for audiences has gone down drastically. So if you come up with a radio documentary for like 20 minutes, it would have worked years ago, like in the 90s, 80s. But for now, people are really fast. They want things that they can listen to really fast and go. They have a lot to do, and they have lots of apps that are distracting them. So nowadays, we are saying maybe a minute, at most 3 minutes, you can attract the attention of your audience. And the less the duration, the better. Yeah. So we have moved from documentaries to features, and now we are at featurettes. Small little programs that can even last 45 seconds that will say something and we are done. Like you tell someone you need to mask up to avoid the infection of COVID-19, you give them the reason why, and you say according to the World Health Organization, and that's it. And you let that person go. But if you put up a documentary for like 30 minutes on radio right now, unless it is, and if you do that, you have to capture their attention throughout. Keep them riveted to their screen or to their phone or to their earphones. Otherwise, do a very short program. That's how radio is going, and the attention span for people is really going down. Then I would say on features, documentaries and dramas, this is where your life as a journalist can change. Because if you decide to do entertainment nowadays, mostly, there's not so many opportunities. But I can say there are opportunities there for producers of, health, environmental information, serious, tangible information. You'll find there are things like awards there for journalists. You'll get fundings for your programs. But if you do entertainment, most of the times, you can only entertain your audience. So yeah, so it's important to do documentaries and features. And this is where you change a life. Because as a journalist, I think the biggest role of a journalist is to change a life, inform your audiences. if you're informing an audience that is not educated and you're telling them that, early marriages are wrong for your children, and you tell them why, that means you're changing the life of a community. At the end of the day, you'll have saved a girl from early marriage, maybe from FGM, and later she'll help that community and maybe your country. So when you do a documentary and a feature, it means you're changing a life. For me, I don't believe in entertainment only on radio. I believe in also giving information. As you do the news that is entertaining, also give them information that will change their lives. So for me, I think documentaries, features, and dramas are the way to go. Yeah. And I mean, let's end up bad cultural practices when you go out. Try and change our people, because I can tell you, as a developing country, our people out there need important, huge information that will change their lives. I can't emphasize that enough. Jackie, do you have anything to add on that?
Ask questions on writing for radio, like if you want to produce a feature, documentary, anything you want to know about any format. This is your chance to learn from an expert.
Yeah. And what I would also say, when you're doing your feature or documentary, you should not only have your voice. If you can, add an expert. And if you can, don't have one expert, have like 3 doctors speaking on the same thing, so that this one agrees with this, and then they add more information on the other. They can't always speak the same. Just like you're hearing from me and Jackie, we are giving different views on different issues, and you end up picking different things from different people. So the more the experts you have in your program, the better.
What should stand out very much or quite clearly in your proposal so that you get funding for a radio program or a documentary or a feature, so that you're able to shoot it excellently?
First of all, I would say it has to be different. Yeah, it has to be different from what people know, and it has to affect very many people. Like, if you are a funder, let's say you're giving funding to journalists, and you've asked for proposals. Then you see someone who's given a proposal for a program for people in Kibera only. And you know that program will change the people in Kibera only. It will change the views of the people in Kibera only. Then you see another proposal that can change the thoughts of very many Kenyans, and maybe even the leaders, something that can transform the country in Kenya. That can transform the whole country. Who will you go for? You'll basically go for the people who will transform the whole country. So if you can come up with an idea that can transform the world or your country or a bigger audience, you can get funding. Yeah. And then, of course, you have to be reasonable with your budget and things like that. Look out for places where you'll seem to have exaggerated figures. Do your research and give a backing for your project. Why are you doing this proposal? What do you want to do with it? That should really come out. So be different and give what I've said.
You've told us to be as natural as possible when we are doing our radio drama and documentaries.
Yes.
But also, the market also requires us to speak in a certain way that, is the notion that we should speak like quote unquote and not the actual thing, Jeff Koinange. So how do you come up with you speaking naturally, and then at the same time trying to put that stylistic device in the documentary? Thank you.
Okay. What I would say there, as a journalist, you have to come out formally. I can't speak to you the way I speak maybe to my daughter or to a very good friend of mine. You see, I have to come up formally. But I would say there's that something about you that will be cool. Because right now, as a journalist, as a student journalist, there are things you do in your class, and people, maybe if there's a project and you're supposed to do a presentation, you present and people are like, wow, you did that very well, you sounded very good. Or some people will come and tell you, no, that one you did not sound good. You sounded like you're twanging too much, or you sounded like you didn't come out very well. So start picking out those good things about you. And if you find them cool, like I'm sure right now Jeff Koinange knows his voice is cool, authentic, and that's something good about him, his trademark. So he'll use it. So if you find something so good about you, don't be scared to express it. As long as you have expressed it and you know that it is good, you can express it to your family, to your friends, and let them have an opinion on what they think about it. Otherwise, just sound formal and as natural as possible. Because if you try and look funny things, people could end up focusing on yourself and not the message.
And maybe if I can add on Vicky's question, the question that was asked before about the proposed for writing. So in development communication, right now we have something that is called the change theory. What is the change that you are going to introduce in the society? What is the gap that you are going to fill? There can be so many programs, maybe on youth, on development, on FGM, but what is that gap your program is going to fill? And then the third person, you don't want to have, you are funding like everything you write that I want this. What are you also going to bring on the table? So it has to make sense the way Carole is saying, and you have also to bring in the theory of change. If your your proposal doesn't have the theory of change in it, as in this something new that you are going to introduce in the society, I'm sorry, you don't get that funding. So you really have to be creative and you really have to think about the theory of change. Okay.
And of course, how you present yourself, you have to look like a person who's put together, you have to look organized with your work, yes. Okay, so if we can move on to how to balance the sound using a mixer. I can tell you that most studios are manual. We still use the mixers to mix everything in the studio, and you always have to know what you want to come out as the highest. Like, do you want your sound to be higher than the music? Then you fade down and bring up whatever you want to be higher than the other. You can't have music playing louder when someone is playing, maybe someone is reading something like the news and you have a signature tune and they're supposed to say the headline for the news. Then you bring down that music under, the music has to be under. You have to ensure that your sound is coming up higher than the music. Because if you play too many things at the same time, sounding too loud, then you're making noise. You're not benefiting anyone. So know exactly what you want to go higher than the other and don't have too much noise. And make sure that your sound is not distorted. It has to come out well. We have to hear what you want us to hear. I think that answers that. Unless someone has a concern on that, then we can continue. On mixing sound, you have to really bring out what you want to bring out. Is that okay? Editing of audio, what particular concern do you have on that? For me, audio editing on Cool Edit is just like using Word. You can copy and paste and delete what you want. Unless someone really has a concern on that. I don't know. Do you have a question on editing of audio? And mostly on radio, life is changing. Right now, it's like if you do radio programs, you have to know how to produce and edit your own programs. Technicians are kind of like phasing out, but I like KBC because we have technicians available. They can guide you on sound, but you get to a level where you don't even need a technician because you know so much about the sound that you're editing. And you have your computer and you can edit from anywhere, at home, wherever you're going. That's how beautiful radio is compared to TV. Yeah, especially TV reporters, because of the quality of the videos. Some of them you'll have to edit maybe in the studios in the office. Yeah. Any question? So what makes a good effective producer? If I can repeat myself, a good effective producer is that person that changes their life with their programs. You have to come up with program ideas that will attract a very big audience and things that will keep people riveted. And at the end of the day, it has to change their lives. If you have chosen entertainment, you've decided to go entertainment way, I'm not saying it is bad. but make sure it is adding value to their lives. It has entertained someone. Yes, maybe it may kill stress and things like that. Yes. If you choose to do a serious production documentary, maybe on early marriages, I talk about children a lot because I think the rights are so violated in this country by their parents and out of knowledge. So if you're doing something like that, effective producers will know that they have changed. I mean, they have been effective if they have changed their life. And you will know because some listeners will even come to you and tell you, your program yesterday added a lot of, I learned something from your program. Or you can hear your colleagues saying, oh, that program was very good. And then maybe at the end of the day, you can win awards, and that will let you know that you've really achieved a lot. Writing a news lead, again, is the same thing like you said. First paragraph, have a focus, give us the what, where, and why, and how, and give news that people want to hear. Don't be boring. Because as you do your work, if you do your work very well, if you do your news stories very well, you will stand out. And people will even notice at work. And you'll continue being given better stories, bigger stories. And that's when you hear someone is a very senior reporter, because you've written your stories very well. Yeah. If you do your work well, people will notice. And God will notice too. Okay. Any question on news writing a news lead?
Hello.
Yes, Philip. Is that?
Yes. Question is editing. I believe, although
yes,
I know we have not gone much about the editing. Actually, we have not learned about the editing. I was wondering if you could elaborate on editing, especially on radio programs.
So at what stage are you? Have you started doing the practicals on editing?
Not yet.
Okay, but you know what? When we're talking about editing means you're deleting what is not important on your program or what is a mistake and leaving what you want to stay on the program. Like maybe you've made a mistake. And by the way, when you're starting out in your journalism, avoid doing, you know, those little mistakes, avoid them as early as you can, because abukisha zoya to stick with you. So those are the little things that you want to delete. Maybe an expert said something and added another sentence, and you want to delete the sentence that you don't want. That's what we call editing. Yeah. So meaning you're editing, you're removing what you don't want to leave your program very clean and have a final product. So most of the time when you're editing on your computer, it's just like Word. You highlight what you don't want and delete. Highlight what you want to copy, and paste where you want it. When your practicals begin, when you have that idea in your mind, editing will be very easy. It's just like Word.
Okay, so maybe in a rejoinder, Peter will be able, I think, to do a demonstration video on editing, and then we'll send it on our links. Because right now, because we are doing an online class, I don't think you have an opportunity to go to the studio, but we will do a demonstration video and then we'll share with the rest of the classes. Okay, I can also see the media writing class joined. I've seen Dr. Ndavula, who is the head of communication department, in the meeting. And I'm also surprised Carole, Doris is here. I think she's one of the students. You know Doris?
Doris from radio. Interesting.
Yeah, the head
That's
of
my
Ingo
colleague.
FM.
Yes.
Just seeing she's here. Yeah. So guys, continue asking questions as we come to the end. Doris.
Yes, hi everyone.
Hi.
Hi Doris.
Hi Carole, I can see you.
Hi.
I'm enjoying your lecture.
Thank you so much, Doris. Karibu sana.
Welcome.
Okay. So I'm seeing some comments. I don't know what they're saying, Jackie.
So at the comments, Luke will take us through maybe some of the questions that the students have asked. But for the editing on radio, I just want to tell you we'll do a demonstration video, and also we'll be able to tell you which software. So Carole, you can talk about the softwares you use in radio editing.
Just one last.
Yes, Luke.
Yeah. When you're coming up with a program, you are focusing on only one person. You're thinking of only one individual.
Yes.
I just I just wanted to know, can you say maybe ladies between 20 to 25 are the same, or you have to pick an age like 23 years old? Can you say 20 to 25 ladies have the same characteristic for your radio? Is that acceptable?
No, in radio, the target is only one. In radio, the target is only one. You focus on one person. You look at, if you decide to do a program for Luke, look at him, his age, what does he wear, where does he live, what job, what does he deal with?
Okay, if I may add, that's why you hear in radio they say mpenzi msikilizaji, but in television we say
Dear viewers.
look. Yeah, viewers. Yeah, but as a producer, when you are coming up with your program, be it television or radio, just focus on one person. Just focus on one person. A target audience is just one person. That's why in your assignment, those who wrote between 20 and 25, I told you that is wrong. Because a target audience in radio, in television is just one person. After you focus on that one person, if a 25-year-old want to watch or listen, it's their problem. If a 15-year-old want to watch or listen, it is their problem. But your target audience is just one person for you to be able to communicate effectively to the public.
So I think we have 8 minutes. If we could speak about podcasts, and on podcasts, what I would say on podcasts, but on this note, I would say if you're a journalism student, you should take opportunities now to start something online. You never know what you can, you never know, you could attract a very big audience. Just start small, don't think too much. You can start by having a podcast, a vlog, come up with ideas of what do people want out there? What do they want to hear? Then come up with something, or what nice thing do you have about yourself that you'd like to express or bring up? Just start something online, and you never know who you can attract. You might just find yourself with very many people following you on social media. So start something as a journalism student. You could end up owning your own TV channel or on YouTube, because that's where I think things are going. Or you could have your own podcasts. That's an opportunity that I'm seeing people are trying to do. Like now there's a place called, it's called a social media place called SoundCloud. If you go there, you'll see people have posted so many things, music, informative programs, and you can get to listen to them. That's a platform you can use. That's where you can start for podcasts, but you can also do your vlogs. Always sound good, natural, and what do we call it? Formal, that's the word, and formal. So yeah, just come up with something. Do you want to encourage people? Do you want to talk about health? I would love to listen to anything on health. Why should I drink a lot of water? Why should I eat vegetables? Why should I eat fruits? Right now, why should I eat more lemons? Maybe you want to tell me to add some vitamin B, vitamin C to my body to avoid the COVID-19 infection. If you do something like that, you'll attract me, because I'd like to hear such information, and maybe many other people in Kenya. And once you're on social media and on these apps, you're attracting very many people, maybe all over the world. Maybe you'll have someone in America watching you, in Europe, Australia, or wherever, and they'll be watching you in Nigeria. So take the opportunity and try something, and you just never know.
For me, I don't have a question on that, but I just have a rejoinder. So even for me as a communication lecturer or a TV producer, I've come up with a YouTube channel. And we were challenging ourselves with Dr. Ndavula, saying we are teaching students how to communicate or how to start YouTube channels, and we don't even have. So for our last 2 webinars, you can follow Dr. Ndavula on his YouTube channel. Kindly everyone go there and subscribe. John Davula on YouTube, subscribe. And also I started like 2 days ago, I started uploading all the small things I've done on my YouTube channel. So it's also Jackie Lidubu. So I'm expecting like for 2 subscribers on Dr. Ndavula and my channel today. So, and also if you also have a channel and you want us to follow you and to subscribe, let us know. Because now we are moving on, like the digital media is the in thing. So we have like to support each other, to have so many subscribers so that we can make money while at it. Carole, do you have a podcast?
Yes, I do have a podcast. I have a channel on that SoundCloud that I was speaking about. So what happens, any program that I do, I upload onto SoundCloud. And I get people listening from almost all over the world, and it's very interesting. So I would encourage everyone to start. Yeah. If I can just add something, Jackie has done a lot on people living with disabilities in the country. That's another program that is changing lives in this country. Maybe if you guys have not watched, you can follow it on KBC and see what happens. Those are the kind of programs that I'm telling you that provide opportunities, and at the same time, you're really changing lives. You're making people understand what disabilities are, what people can do to make their lives better and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so in a rejoinder, when I was starting the program on disabilities, it was just like, if I'm a media person, I'm supposed to do something which can change the society. I have to look at the gap. Persons with disability are not represented in the media, but I have a platform I can be able to do that. So I just started like something I just wanted to make a difference in the media. But it has opened to me so many opportunities. I've traveled, I think, all continents of the world. I've received so many awards just because of a program I started. So you can start something unique just for the sake, but you don't know what you will get in the future. So for me, you can find much more on my YouTube channel and the places I've visited because of Able Differently.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm glad to meet all of you, and I'm wishing you all the best. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Luke is the one who will maybe look at few questions and then give the closing remarks.
Okay, thank you, Madam. I've seen a few questions on the chat section which maybe have not been responded to. There is somebody asking which are the best programs to use for radio editing. Maybe Madam Carole, you can try to take that one. Then and then someone is also asking which are the best sites for podcasts, which is the best site, the most reliable for podcasts. I think those are the two outstanding questions. Maybe Madam Carole, you could take those ones.
Okay, so there's Adobe Audition that you can use for editing, and there's Cool Edit. Mostly we use Cool Edit. It is very professional. No, Adobe Audition. So Cool Edit came first, and then Adobe Audition came up later with more features. So those are the main things that we use because they're very professional. But there's another one, I don't remember what it's called, that is very available for computer use and stuff like that. But try and do Adobe Audition. The quality is very good. Unfortunately, you have to get a license, but if you're close to a journalist, a radio journalist, they can have that set up on your computer, and you can end up editing your sound. On the apps for podcasts, SoundCloud, and it is free for a long time. They give you some duration that you can use, and after it's done, they can tell you to pay, which is not very expensive, but for now, you can use SoundCloud. SoundCloud.com, a very good app for podcasts. So if you can start recording something every day, you never know what you can attract. You could find people following you on SoundCloud. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Madam. I'm not seeing any other question. I think those were the main ones. Maybe just to wind it up, I'm just going to say thank you to all the students. Today we were about 43 people attended out of 46. Thank you so much for coming, and we've learned a lot from this session. Maybe, Madam, you will provide for us the recording once it has been edited, so that those who are not able to attend, they can be able to know what happened in this session. Okay, that is all. Maybe I'm done. I don't have anything else to add. I'll just say thank you, and it's been very productive.
I would like to add that I wanted to bring a program that, I wanted to play something, but unfortunately, because of these apps and everything, I was not able to. I would have played for you something short to show you how things are changing. Like, you can't do a 30-minute program, but you can do something in a minute or 30 seconds, and you sound good at the end of the day. So yeah, thank you. Now I'm really done. Thank you so much. Jackie, thank you.
Sawa sawa, asanteni. See you next week. Thank you.